Many people look back fondly at old games like Pac-Man or Super Mario Bros. And think of how they enjoyed playing them as kids. A lot of those people are now adults, playing video games well into their 30s, 40s, and beyond. But there's one thing that these people keep forgetting about those games, and it is that most of them were extremely difficult to play. The golden rule of game design is that a game should be simple to learn but difficult to master, and that's exactly what the early video games did. Arcade games like Pac-Man or Donkey Kong were extremely easy to pick up and start playing, but as the levels went up, the game became more and more difficult, which was necessary. That's because arcade games were designed to make the player pay for each play session. If the game was too easy, one player could end up playing the entire day, leaving other customers waiting impatiently for their turn. Of course, even the most difficult games eventually became easy because kids had a lot of time to practice and became extremely good at the games. Those early games were difficult for another reason. Since computing power was limited, the games were actually quite short in duration. So to give players the illusion of playing for a longer time, the games were designed to be difficult so that the single game could be played for several hours or even days. Games like Super Mario Bros. Are actually as short as 30 minutes if you know what you're doing. But of course, we didn't know it back then. We kept failing and kept playing the same game over and over again for days until some older cousin or friend told us the tricks to complete it. By the 90s, games started becoming more complex and designers no longer had to resort to difficulty as a tactic to make the games feel longer. So they gave players a choice. Either keep playing the game with a high level of difficulty or make it easier on yourself by lowering the difficulty to make the game as easy as you wanted. Some games like Doom even taunted you if you tried to lower the difficulty level. The important thing is, despite the taunts, this choice was very important for the industry to grow and attract new audiences. Because even in the 90s, not everyone wanted to chase high scores in video games. They simply wanted to have a good time without having to worry about the difficulty of the game. And that is why today it is common to see games offer a choice of difficulty for players across most genres. Some genres like the Souls-like and roguelike games are intentionally designed to be difficult, so they are the exception. On the other hand, there are also genres like the life sim and cozy games, which are so easy by default that they don't need to feature any difficulty choices. In other words, players have a wide variety of choice these days. Unless you specifically go looking for games that are difficult to play, you don't really have to spend a whole week trying to beat a game that can be finished in a couple of days if you just lower the difficulty level. I have recently been playing an old game called Detroit Become Human. It is an adventure game from Quantic Dream, which was very successful, having sold more than 9 million copies since launch. It features a very immersive sci-fi story about androids, and it is an extremely easy game where you need to choose what happens to your character next by pressing buttons when you're prompted. Some people even consider it to be less of a game and more of an interactive movie. That doesn't take away from the fact that the story is enjoyable and it offers an entertaining experience that is even replayable several times. It's perhaps an age-related thing, but the older I get, the less interested I am in challenging myself to finish a game on the highest difficulty. I used to do that a long time ago, but these days I'm more interested in seeing if the game has anything new to offer me through its core gameplay loop, so I don't shy away from choosing a lower difficulty. It also helps me in playing more games than before, so that's a bonus. It's not as if someone's waiting to give me a medal each time I beat a game on the highest difficulty, and I personally don't see it as a worthy achievement. I'd rather aim for a real-life achievement trying to do something difficult, such as building a successful YouTube channel. If I succeed at things like that, I can receive something useful in return in real life. Anyway, it's an individual thing, I guess. There are gamers well into their 40s and 50s who still enjoy the challenge of beating a game at its highest difficulty. All that matters is whether or not you're having fun. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.